makeup loving friends, how's it going? Welcome back. It's been a week and we have a week's worth of the makeup releases that you want to talk about. And guess what? Tia's back! Woo!
I'm back again.
Back due to popular demand. Yeah. Anyways, look, we're both tired for various reasons, and you're gonna have to look at our mugs like this. Be thankful. But you know the drill, lads. I have loads of people to thank for tagging me in content. So I want to say a big thanks to Brianna, Ali, Beth, Gillian, Miss Charlie, Trendstopia, Makeup Release Radar, Sue, Chrissy, Alexis, Tina, JW, Natalia, Yvonne, Gina, Claire, Inez, Heather, Tia, Lisa G, Jasmine, Shanna, Tony Humperm, Amy, Anna, Yasmin, Victoria, Haley, Daniela, Amina, Sigourney, Buttons, Kirsten, Manuela O, and Cecily. And also a big thank you to my Patreons. And we had a theme this week. It's ball and chain, because I was kind of like saying in the Patreon group, I wasn't really sure what to do. And then Brianna was like, well, isn't Jefferson Starship coming out with this weird wedding theme? What about ball and chain as a thing? Well, then, I'm taking your idea and I'm
Perfect.
it. So yeah, the theme is ball and chain, and I obviously have done nothing because I'm not inspired.
I've done nothing too, but I sent a look to Teresa.
Did
it's one of my old.
She's covered. I've done nothing. I'm just tired. But anyways, I'm gonna put the looks down below so that you can have a little gawk. So the first thing that we're looking at is Notoriously Morbid, which is an indie brand, and they have the Mystery Ink palette. So it's a 12-pan palette, and it's available now for $29.99. I gotta say, when you look at the color story, it's really, really obviously Scooby-Doo. Like, there's the blue there for Fred and the white of his ascot. There's
it's like a Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you've your green and orange there for like Shaggy and Velma, and like it all makes a huge amount of sense when you look at the colors, and you like they're the exact shades. Like that purple is like Daphne's dress, and then the greeny shimmer is like her hairband and the trimming of the dress. So I'm like, this is actually really quite smartly done in that sense. I think personally, where they kind of petered out on their idea was the packaging, because it just looks kind of like they just printed off Mystery and just glued it to a palette, and it's not even the correct size. And I'm like, but lads, you did so well to actually have a palette that when you look at it, you go, yes, I see the origin of this makes sense. And then it's like, oh,
the packaging kind of, I don't love the color story, I have to say. Like, some of the shimmers look so nice. Like on swatches, they look really nice. But I just wouldn't be able to do a look with it. Like, I feel like the red and the orange, okay, they don't go together. Then there's like a brown and like a more like a warm brown to blend out. There's no like dark shades. And also, I feel like it's very shimmer heavy, which
it really
I don't like if it's like a mix of mattes and shimmers.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense for the theme. Like some of the shimmers looks nice. It's just not for me. But I feel like if you like Scooby-Doo, you might like this.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's not like a cohesive color story of like, oh, there's nothing I could think to do with it, although the eye look that they've presented is fabulous.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very pretty. Like, I would struggle to know what to do with it. That being said, the origin is really clear. And I think it's really funny because we were talking last week, myself and Sam, about Urban Decay and the She-Hulk palette, and how the packaging of She-Hulk was mwah, chef's kiss, and then the inside made no fucking sense and didn't relate to the source material at all. And here we have something where there's the opposite story. You look at the color story and you're like, yeah, that's so obviously Scooby-Doo, and then the palette outside is like, oh. But I'm like,
I like that they're shared swatches, because looking at the palette, I was like, the shimmers doesn't look that special. But then when you look at swatches, like some of the shimmers actually look so beautiful. Like that bluey, like that has kind of like a silvery shift, that really light lilac.
Lilac-y.
Yes. Like I feel like I wish kind of that they'd done more of those like special shades. I get that they can be more expensive. I'm just not very into any more like regular shimmers. If they're not like some really pretty color that I want to use, but I just prefer more of these more glittery, sparkly shadows myself.
Yeah, I mean, I would be the same because, like, you know, it's kind of gotten to that point that we have like a market that is filled with really, really interesting formulas, triochromes, multichromes, sparkly, glittery shimmers that, like, I mean, I had the Danessa Merrick's, the Lightworks 3. Mwah, beautiful, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gourmand Girls Ethereal. See, I can pronounce it, lads. Like, they have really special shades, and I'm like, those are the things that I'm kind of going for now. I still think this is a good palette for what it is. There's just things I personally would have changed. Like, I'd have probably spent a bit more time with the packaging, and like, I mean, like you're saying, I probably would have kind of thought about shades that were a little bit more, or like formulas that were very like, what is this? What is this delicious delectableness? But you know what? You compare that against Urban Decay's fucking nonsense of last week, and then it's like, you know what? You've done well.
Yeah.
You at least looked at the source material, and I know what it is that you've done. And I've had a few people contacting me and kind of going, you know what, I really like Notoriously Morbid. They do a really, really good formula. I bought this and I'm excited to try this. So I can't wait to see what people do with it and what they think of it. I suspect that people will end up enjoying it because I've heard really, really good things about this brand and their formula. But do you know what? I'm just, not that I'm not as into makeup, but I'm just like, I have lots of stuff. So I think it's going to take a lot more for me to get like super excited and like lose my mind over things. So
yes,
this ain't it for me. But when I put it to you guys, 19% of you loved it. 52% of you said, ruh-oh, because I had to put that in. And 30% of you said, I like some of it. So do you know what? I think a few of us are having that sort of burnout feeling when it comes to makeup, and I'm like, okay, it's not just me. Then we have Shine by SD Cosmetics, and I made a massive boo-boo when I talked about this on TikTok and Instagram, because, don't hate me, I called them an American brand, and they're not an American brand. I got it mixed up with JD Glow.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, Shine, Glow, SD,
Shine, Glow.
This is the way my stupid brain works. And I was like, they're an American brand. And then people were like, no, they're Canadian. I was like, oh my God, I've actually done the worst thing ever, which is like, it's like I'm Irish. And if somebody then says, oh, like Ireland is like England, I'm like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. So no, they are a Canadian brand. I screwed up. They're a Canadian brand. Okay. So this is their new collection. It's coming out August 26th at 2 p.m. ADT. So they have 3 separate 6-pan palettes. There's the Green Ocean pop-up palette for $29.99 Canadian dollars. So it's about $23 US. There's the Serenity pop-up palette, and then the Treasure pop-up palette. So the Treasure pop-up palette is $38, and that seems to have more kind of like special formulas of like those duochrome type things. And I think this is kind of clever. Now you can get singles of these apparently, and you can get bundles of them. I think this is kind of smart, because no more than what we were saying with Notoriously Morbid, it's like, if you're doing a small enough palette, do some interesting formulas. And I think this is nice. The colors make sense.
They look nice. The color stories look nice. Like the green one looks beautiful.
Yeah.
The purple one, gorgeous. And I feel like that last one is probably like some shifty, like topper shades. It looks like that. And then it's kind of weird because the white one has like stars. And then when you look at the other ones, they don't have. I'm wondering, did they have and they just been swatched? Like,
do you know what I think? This is just me. I think that they've put the stars on those ones because there's a different kind of a formula.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Because that one is a different price as well.
Yeah.
So I suspect they've kind of done that to make it really obvious then to a customer of, you're not getting the same thing with this. This is going to give you a different effect. I like the look of it. And, you know, I like the fact that the background of the palette is very clean. You know, it's not like, and whatever. I think there's a nice aesthetic to it. I think with the green, I'd like to see a bit more variation because they're all kind of bar one quite mid-tony. So I'd love to see like a really kind
of light,
very light
really dark, and then like bright.
Exactly. Just to really like make full use of what there. I do think it's nice though, and it's like not a bad price considering
it's not a bad price. So I feel like this one would be like, after I've seen swatches, could like make a better decision.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard, especially with these kinds of formulas that could have like a shift, could like have like glitter and not glitter, you know. You kind of have to see the swatch before you can.
Yeah, and if at all possible, like get a video to see what they look like, because sometimes even getting a picture, you can't see fully how things are glittering and shimmering. Like I find that's the best way. So if I have found anything, you'll obviously see it on your screen. I'm definitely intrigued by this. Like I think that's quite an interesting little launch, and I don't hear from them that often. They're at least brands that doesn't like hurl stuff at us every 5 minutes. They seem to be very kind of thoughtful about what it is that they're coming out with.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm interested now. I haven't bought anything from them yet, but I could be persuaded at some point. Yeah, I quite like it. When I put it to you guys, 32% said love it, 31% said not for me, and then 38% said I like some of it. It's been ages since we've talked about Makeup Revolution, and here we are again. And I feel it's somehow fitting that they've collaborated with Clueless, because it does feel a bit Clueless, you know? They have this Clueless collection, and I will say the franchise of Clueless has collaborated with a couple of different brands over the last, year and a half, 2 years. I know they definitely did something with Hip Dot a while ago, and when this came up in my feed, I thought, oh, are we just looking at a re-release of something? But no, this is a new one in typical Makeup Revolution style. It's a whole chunk of stuff. So if we look at, like, say the palettes first, they have one big palette which is their like flawless palette, and it's called the Plaid Perfection, and that's £12. And then they have 3 smaller £6 palettes, and they're all £8 each, and therefore Cher, Dion, and Ty. There's 3 different lip glosses. They're £6 each. There's like lip liners that also have the fuzzy little pom-pom at the top, you know, like the pencil that she dropped.
I hope you can remove that though.
Yeah, can you imagine if you put that into a makeup bag and just how filthy that would get over time?
I like the aesthetic of that. Like, I feel like it's very Clueless.
Yes,
but I do like wish it was like removable, so it's like you want to store it without the pom-pom thing.
I agree. I would like that option. Those lip liners are £5 each, and they've also made it so that there's a liquid eyeliner that also has like a fluffy pom-pom as well. That's £5. There's a handheld mirror for £10, which kind of looks interesting. There's false nails again for Cher, Dion, and Ty. They're £8 each. I gotta say, I am fucking obsessed with the Tartan Cosmetics bag. I love that. I think it's so cute.
I feel like the accessories
are
on point. I don't like the rose hair clip, but like I would actually like those hair ties. Those earrings look nice. That like little headband looks really cool. The bags, both of the makeup bags, look so nice. They just kind of missed the mark with the makeup items. I
completely agree. I reckon, right, they could have switched the eyeshadow palettes, because I don't give a shit about them. They don't look interesting at all. The lip liners, the glosses, whatever, I don't care. They should have done the nails because, I think that's relatively okay. And they're kind of fun and interesting.
Yeah.
The hair accessories are so on trend anyways.
Yeah.
When you think about like the 90s are back. And then the cosmetics bags, if they had just done that,
yeah,
I think that would have.
I feel like I do feel like the 6-pan palettes could have been a nice touch. I just don't like the color stories. Like, why is there like a Cher's wardrobe? There's like a yellow, like a tartan skirt and like a jacket and a vest there, and then all the colors in the palette are like pink.
Yeah,
like that doesn't make sense.
I will say, like, I get it in the sense that that was like her most famous outfit from the movie. But I think what they've done is they've looked at like the sort of makeup they wore in the film, and I could see Cher wearing those sort of tones. Like that makes sense. And like Ty's eyeshadow palette then has the tartan jacket thing that what's his name gave her. And Dion, well, I'm not really sure why there's a calculator there, but or no, it's not a calculator, it's one of those flip phones. I'm old and I can't remember what things are. I mean, I don't like Dion's palette at all. I wouldn't know what to do with that.
I feel like the pinky one, like I'm looking at that more as like a blush palette, and I would actually use that as it. I feel like they're on point with the packaging, the aesthetic, everything is like, yes, just what's inside the palettes.
Yeah.
Like that big palette was not needed at all.
Oh, no.
Like, I feel like they just thrown that in there because they could do it and like more money,
Yeah.
And I feel like they should have kind of, I don't know. I like the mirror, I like the accessories, but the makeup is kind of like,
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it as well. Like, I can see it, like it's all like really 90s and it makes sense. I think the palettes are not created equally. Like Ty's one, I can see Ty wearing those grungy colors. I don't know what the big palette is about. It makes no sense to me because it doesn't really link in with the film.
Yeah.
I like the idea, like in ways of like the lip liners because they have the pom-pom and it makes sense with the film. But then, like you were saying, practically, that would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
And then the whole lip glosses with the little chain and the thing, that brings me right back to the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, right back. And I'm like, whoa.
If that's like a good lip gloss, though, I would actually just throw that in my bag. Like, I wouldn't mind, and it's cute, but I don't know. I just feel like they could have done more.
Or less.
Yeah, like less, but like more.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you tied it back just to the accessories, because let's be real, that would have made more sense because Clueless was all about the accessories and the fashion. Yeah. They weren't as much about the beauty. It was like, how are you accessorizing? I mean, Cher at one point talks about how important accessories are. So would this not then have made more sense to be as like an accessory sort of an item? And it's not like Revolution haven't done something like this before. I mean, there are 5,000 different sub brands of like Revolution Home, Revolution Gym, Rev. So like, why not just do that? I got so many messages about that bloody tartan bag of just everyone being like, I love that. And I'm like, I think all of us. Yeah.
That's like my favorite of the collection.
And like,
just beautiful.
I don't even wear false nails, but I would actually consider figuring out
like how cute, like if you're going for like a Clueless makeup look or like something like that, just to pop on those nails on and be like, I would actually wear well, maybe not the like red tartan ones. I'm not a big fan. Like I'm more like I would actually wear them all, I think.
Yeah, I would wear them all.
Like for occasion, like not like every day.
Yeah, not like around the house, like just as a look at me, look at my nails.
I wonder what like quality the nails are. Like, are they good? Like, are they like, not like plasticky that will bend like because then they're not very good.
I think
But like,
Chrissy's gotten a few of these in the past.
yeah,
So Chrissy, comment below. Let me know what you think of them, because I know Chrissy gets some of these from
yeah,
time to time. Yeah, I think it's an interesting bag. It's not the worst thing that Makeup Revolution
yeah.
come out by any.
Absolutely not the worst thing they're ever done.
And I feel weird saying that, by the way, because I'm so used to being like, meh, F you, Makeup Revolution, F you. But I think this actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, you
Yeah,
actually had people working on this that knew what
yeah,
Clueless was, didn't you? Because so many of their collabs before you're like, do you
yeah.
know what you're collabing
I
with?
know that I'm getting a parcel from Revolution, but I have no clue what it is. Like, actually, not a clue. They never asked like my information, so I don't know about like how, like, could they even send me anything because they don't have it. And then no one's told me that they bought me anything. So now I'm just like, I want to know what's in it. Like, if you buy me a gift, just tell me because, like, I wanna know. I hate the unknown. Like, to just think about it's there and I don't know what's in
Yeah, but the excitement of opening up something and not knowing what's in
it.
it.
Yeah.
That's very exciting, to be fair. Yeah, this isn't a bad one. Now, when I put it to you guys, I showed you the first photo, which included like some of the mini palettes and the nails and stuff. And 14% of you said love it, 70% said not for me, and 16% said I like some of it. And then when I showed you the bigger palette and like mirrors and stuff, that increased to 18% said love it, 72% said not for me, and 18% said I like some of it. And I swear to God, the I like some of it is that fucking tartan bag.
Yeah.
More collabs. This is Sigma, who we don't hear about that often. It's mostly like them doing collabs on like makeup brushes, which is obviously what they're known for. But they've collabed with Disney's Alice in Wonderland, and they've come out with not quite a full collection, but there is quite a bit to it. There's a cheek duo for $35, and it reminds me very, very much of the cheek duo that came out with Beauty when they collabed with Coming to America. So I was like, okay, that's kind of different. The eyeshadow palette then is $59, which I've wanted to try Sigma Beauty's eyeshadow palettes for a while. I've never been able to justify it because it's quite expensive. I know
There are.
I've spoken to Mary because I know Mary got the Corderosa and she loves it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but there's been nothing of theirs that has like really interested me up until I think this is maybe the most interesting eyeshadow palette they've come out with to date. But $59, expensive. There's a lip duo for $35. Then there's obviously a brush set for $120, which I'm going to say is way too expensive for what it is.
It's
Four
so
brushes.
expensive.
Four
But
brushes in a bag for $120. That's nuts.
5 brushes.
Oh, five brushes. Sorry, Teresa can't fucking count. Five.
But like, I know it's expensive. Like, it's crazy. I would never buy it. But those two face brushes, I'm like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
those shapes, like my absolute favorite foundation brush is from like Cosmic Brushes. And it like kind of reminds me of the shape that they have there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if they would sell those as single, like you could buy just like one brush.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That. Like both of the face brushes are just stunning.
Yeah, and I will say I have quite a few Sigma Beauty.
Me too. They're
So good and they keep really, really well. You can get the full collection for $199, which does save you quite a chunk of cash. So I'm like, I guess
yeah. So if you kind of want
anything,
the brush set and maybe like the eyeshadow palette, I would just go with the full collection.
yeah.
You get like a lip duo and cheek duo for not that much of money.
Yeah,
For
it
like
would be an extra $20 on what you would
yeah.
be paying just for the eyeshadow palette and brush set alone.
You know, I feel like they've done that in purpose.
Of course.
Like mark the brush that's so high that people are like, I'm not gonna buy that on its own. I'm just gonna go for a full collection if you like some bits.
Yeah, because like the bundle price saves you $50.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. Like that is a lot. When you think that it is a small enough collection, like it's not huge, but there is so much of me that I'm like looking at this and kind of going, I actually quite like this. But
I like it too. The blush duo, it's not my favorite colors. But the palette looks pretty. I don't like the red in there. I just don't like warm tones on it, you know. But I did do a warm tone look that I actually liked a while ago. But they just don't match me.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, that's a pretty palette.
I kind of have to think that part of where I'm going at this and why I've looked at this several times is the marketing pictures are so good. Like it's there on the table and it's all set up like the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And it all looks so fun and interesting. But I'm thinking to myself, what if those were just presented on a white backdrop? Would I be as interested?
Yeah.
And I don't think
if you look at more into the palette, again, I feel like the deepest shade is a shimmer.
Yeah.
Then you have like brown, like the dark brown, but you don't really have like a dark blue to blend out those two blues. I don't really know how you're gonna blend in brown to blue. At least I can't do it.
No.
So
you can't. We're all fucked.
It's a beautiful palette, but when you look at it more, I feel like it's not like a palette that would stand alone, at least in my use. But if you like more lighter looks, so you don't like depth in your look, because there are people who actually doesn't use black every single time they do their makeup. So I feel like for that, and if the shimmers are like top notch,
they're meant to be. Apparently, they do a beautiful shimmer formula, which is part of why the amount of times I've had like a Sigma palette in my basket and I take it out and I take it out.
They have some beautiful, like they have a one palette that kind of reminds me of the AB8 subculture, which the color storage is gorgeous. And I'm just like, that's the one I've been looking at.
I know the one because that's the one I've been looking at as well.
But you know, you get a really good brush there, even though it's a double-ended. But those brushes, that's not like, that's actually a good brush, you know, in that. So
yeah, I agree. Like if this is ever on sale, I would I would highly consider it.
Like my first choice would be the brush set from this collection. Like if that would come down to like 40 pounds.
Don't think it's gonna go down to $40.
I would buy it.
In an ideal world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not asking much.
No.
Am I?
Come on, Sigma. I think it's an interesting collection. I'm not going to be getting it because it's not the right price for me. Do you know what? If the palette had been $39, I think I'd have snapped it up.
Yeah.
Like it's the 59 that's catching me because
it's like up there with Natasha Denona's palette, like the smaller, like bigger, but like those smaller versions of those.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's like, and then when it's a brand you haven't tried eyeshadows, it's kind of like, do I want to go there with that price?
Exactly. I'm like
what if I hate it and then I bought it for like $60?
I don't think I could deal with that.
Yeah.
I'm so upset. I get so upset when a palette doesn't work for me. Like, you know, like I get so irritated. So I'm like, no, we don't want that for me. Like I only want to buy shit I want and like and enjoy. And I don't think that's too much to ask. When I put it to you guys, 33% of you loved it, 31% said not for me, and 37% said I like some of it. So that was actually quite positive. Then, oh my God, we've had so many releases from Jefferson Starship over the last couple of months. And I have to say, it does feel very much like he's losing his edge. And I know I've had a few people who are like, why are you still talking about him? And I'm like, literally just because you guys tagged me in it. I wouldn't talk about him unless you guys tagged me because you want us to talk about it. But there you go. This is the wedding collection. There's the Star Wedding palette for $62. There's serums for $52. They have a Liquid Star eyeshadow. 3 of them are mattes, 3 are glitters. They're $20 each. There's a wedding proof makeup setting spray for $26, blotting paper for $10, velour liquid lipstick, 6 different shades for $18 each, and then a whole chunk of fashion and accessories. The palette, I mean, let's talk about that first. That weird pop of bright pink in the middle. I know what he's doing. Like, I know what he's doing. It's the come look at this, but it doesn't.
But like, imagine that being like a blush pink, like a toned down version of that. I feel like the whole palette will look much more, you know, cohesive.
Yeah, I will say that when I look at this palette, that all I can think of is this is a jumbled up, I don't want to say mess, but a jumbled up collection of shades from the Blood Sugar, Pink Religion, Cremated, and Orgy.
Yeah, my favorite part is the last row.
Yeah.
I like those grays. That actually looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
But he's already done that.
That's the thing.
Like, and that palette is like, if I would buy still, I would get that. Like, I think about that palette sometimes. Like, can someone just do it?
Yeah. I mean,
if I would see that palette on a sale for like $12, I don't think I could like say no. Like, I think about it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, most of you guys know I'm personally not buying from Jefferson. That's my choice.
Yeah.
I do think it's quite interesting though that kind of how his brand has changed quite a bit, or maybe it's because public opinion has changed so much over the last year or two. It feels like the releases that he's come out with are just not hitting the mark. Like,
I feel like he's become boring.
Yeah, I looked at this and I thought this is like a less interesting version of Lois Cosmetics Rose Metal palette.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't get. I think that bright neon pop of pink. Like, I personally, I'd wear bright colors on a wedding day because I'm that person. But like, like 99% of brides probably aren't wearing that sort of thing on their wedding day. So
it just throws me off.
Yeah. I think, like you were saying, if they put in more of a blush tone, that would have made a lot more sense. When it comes down to, like, say the liquid lipsticks and the like liquid eyeshadows, the liquid lipsticks look nice. The one that I like the most is that kind of berry shade. I think that
I like the light nude.
Yeah.
But you know, now that I've looked at it side by side with the liquid shadows, that like neutral brown, like liquid shadow, the last one, like that as a lippy.
Oh yeah, and I like the tone above the berry shade. I think that's really nice.
Yeah.
And like, obviously their formula is good, but I don't need to say it again. I'm not buying from them.
Yeah.
The liquid shadows, do you know what's funny though? Like, he's holding up the component, and when you see it in the component, you're like, oh my god, this looks so pretty. And then when it's swatched, in my opinion, it doesn't look that special.
Yeah. I feel like though it could look much different on a low light setting. Like where glitters shine most. Like, he had very bright lights, like very like bright. All the video was like, I don't feel like it made justice for the shimmers, for the like those like shimmery, glittery liquid shadows.
Yeah,
that really is a cool thing. So if you hear banging, that's Freya, because she has to like
distraction.
Yes.
Yeah, we've all been there. And then obviously then he has all these like things like mirrors and setting spray and like a serum, which comes in a green bottle, which I don't know why he's kind of changed it, because everything else is like in
I kind of like,
yeah, and of course, like, as is the trend with him, he's come out with like about 50 million different things. There's like robes.
I like the light up star mirror.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could get that from another brand. I don't think the star shape is like, obviously it's his thing.
Yeah.
So he's gonna do it. But like, those are like, I feel like nice products that if you like Jeffree Star, if you like to do your makeup, feel like a lot. I'm really like wanting a light up mirror. Maybe that's why I like
Yeah. Do you know what? Just go onto like AliExpress or something. I'd say you could find
Yeah.
something like this like really easily. Yeah, for me in all the collection, it's not for me. Like even
Yeah.
if it was still.
I don't like the packaging. I don't like the silver. I feel like the palette looks cheap.
Yeah.
It's the most cheap looking palette he's done. I like that it's sleek because if it's like for a makeup artist to
Yeah, it
do a
makes sense for that.
wedding makeup, it makes sense. But I just feel like the silver, like cardboard,
Yeah.
looks cheap.
And
It's
it's
just
so
my
funny. So
opinion.
remember, he used to be all like, "I'm all about the packaging and giving you a
Yeah,
luxurious experience." And you're like, "Okay, what happened
yeah.
to that?" Like, it's just, it's really quite interesting to see how that has gone. But the palette as well, when I look at it, it just gives me ColourPop meets BH Cosmetics vibes.
Yeah.
And it's not it for me. But I will say a lot of you are feeling the exact same way. Like we had really low scores across the board, like 8% love in the palette, 77% saying not for me, 14% saying I like some of it. When it came to the lipsticks, with a 12% love, 75% said not for me, 13% said I like some of it. And then with the liquid shadows, 11% said love it, 77% said not for me, and 12% said I like some of it. So yeah, not doing that great. And speaking of not doing that
Oh,
great, this is hands down, and I will fight anyone that disagrees with me. This is hands down the absolute worst release I have ever seen.
yeah.
I've been doing this for what, 3
Also the
years?
most wasteful one.
It's
Like
horrendous.
I hate it with a passion.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense. One bit, I don't like if I like even when I look at it, I'm like, who's gonna buy this?
Yeah.
Who's like this? I feel like this is for a shock value.
Yeah.
Like,
It's wasteful, but it's also like we're going
yeah,
into, or we are in a cost of living crisis in an awful lot of countries.
yeah,
And then they're like, here, this is, by the way, Fenty Beauty, who have
yeah,
collaborated with MSCHF or Mischief, which is apparently an art brand. I thought it was Ketchup, which, by the way, not a weird assumption for me to make because their fucking collaboration is ketchup or makeup, which is, by the way, the worst possible game that you could play. And you get
yeah.
a case of 6 sachets. How luxurious. And you can open the sachets to then reveal, do you have ketchup or do you have lip gloss?
Yeah, but how are you gonna store it afterwards? You get like one use
Yeah.
out of that if you get the lip gloss.
Can you imagine if you got 6
I
sachets?
saw someone like had this on TikTok and they were like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like, am I gonna get a ketchup? Am I gonna get a lip gloss? She got a lip gloss. She thought like through the like opened the package. And I was just thinking, like you get that use, but how are you gonna store it after?
You can't. And nobody's globbing on lip
Or
gloss.
yeah, or you're gonna have to have like little like buy yourself a little containers where you gonna then put that lip gloss.
Is it like, remember when Fenty last year came out with those terrible clip-on lip gloss things? Is that where
Yeah,
she like now decant them off into this? Like
yeah. I just
$25. $25.
$25. How much do you get in that 1 ml? 1 ml, and
But
you
this is what
might
I'm saying. This is
get ketchup.
wasteful, unsustainable. It's
Yeah.
greedy. Like the profit that they're making off of this is disgusting. Like this actually
Also,
makes me
like,
angry.
is there any guarantee you get a lip gloss in it?
I
Because
don't
they
think there
don't
is.
say anything. So it's either what if all of your sachets
Okay.
is ketchup? Then you bought $25 of 6 little sachets of ketchup,
And
one
it's
mil.
not even $25 worth of ketchup. Like just go
Yeah,
like Tesco, get
like
yourself a bottle of Heinz
or
ketchup
go like
for €3.
McDonald's or like any fast food restaurant and ask yourself that sachet. Wear that as a lip gloss. It's much better. Ah, I hate this. I hate this so much.
Can I also say the promotional pictures of, the models wearing the lip gloss and the fucking tomato ketchup made me feel physically unwell. Like, it looks manic.
And like, why does she have a little applicator, what she's applying that lip gloss? You don't get that. You don't get that.
No.
So why is it there?
It's so
it's so heated because I hate this so much.
But it's so misleading as well.
Yeah.
And like, even like the sachet comes in this big container, at least the container.
Yeah.
It's like there's
so much space.
Yeah. I fucking hate this now. Apparently people are saying this is very like on brand for MSCHF, which is this artistic thing. And I'm like, no.
I get that. Be artistic, but I don't feel like that gives you the permission to be like super wasteful, super just like, this is not practical in the slightest. Like, it's just like, all I see is problems when I look at this.
I hate it so much. And like, I just keep thinking, remember when you were over and we went to like Boots in, I think it was Liffey Valley, and they have like a Fenty store, and all I could think of is, can you imagine going up to your Fenty stall and seeing this, and the poor, assistants at Boots trying to like figure out how to sell this.
Yeah,
I get it. She's fucking obsessed with her lip glosses, but I'm actually getting more and more pissed off with Fenty these days.
Yeah,
I feel like they've hit a point where people are getting a bit annoyed with them. Like, they started off so popular, and now I think this is going to turn people off.
I'm just like looking, even the packaging says to do not eat. So if you get the ketchup, are you not supposed to eat that? Like,
extra?
Are you just gonna throw that away?
Yeah, it isn't even made for human consumption, because you'd have to like put past these like FDA stuff as well, and like, where are they getting the ketchup from?
Yeah,
because you can't make these things where you're making makeup.
Make it stop. This is the absolute worst launch ever, like ever. And we've talked about some
shocking stuff,
really shitty stuff. Just, this is so bad. I feel like this puts me off of Fenty.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, why?
All I can think of is I ripped them a new one when they came out with that clip-on lip gloss, and this makes the clip-on look good.
And it was like the height of like the corona pandemic, and they were like, oh, a clip-on lip gloss where you smear your finger.
They can be so toned down sometimes, and like, and then in other ways it's like they're super inclusive and really understanding of like shade ranges and stuff, and then they pull shit like this, and I get really annoyed, and I don't understand it like at all. I do you know what really annoys me as well? Like, I saw this on Trend Mood, right? And I couldn't fucking get over that Trend Mood had put down like, oh my god, this seems like so much fun, and I'm like, we have very different definitions of what fun is, because me, the sensory idea of ketchup, like, I have a lot of sensory issues. Anyone who knows me knows like I'm a sensory mess. Like, this is, I feel like particularly for us autistics, we're looking at this kind of going, ugh, like the not knowing what you're getting. But I cannot get over that there are people actually, I mean, like Tia was just saying, that there was somebody on TikTok like, oh my god, so much fun, what'll I get? No.
You know what? I will say one thing. If you would get like a gift card in this, that you could get like your choice of like lip gloss or like 2 lip glosses, because like $25, I would say then, okay, you at least get something for your money. Still would hate the idea, but at least then you get like a full size thing. But it's just, I'm reaching.
But yeah, I cannot understand why this is $25.
I cannot. Like, for £5, do your thing.
Yeah.
Like, release your ketchup. Yes, for £5, it would still be overpriced. but I wouldn't be this pissed.
Exactly. I think what's getting me is the disgusting profit that they're making off of it. The issues around sustainability.
Yeah.
And then there's people who are tone deaf just going, oh my God, this is amazing. This is such fun. And I'm like,
fun. Oh my
God,
so artsy.
and I'm like, there are people who are going to food banks, and this is the shit that you're putting. I can't actually think about this anymore because this is making me so angry.
And like it says, do not eat. So if you get the ketchup, you cannot eat that.
Oh. It's wasteful.
Yeah, we need to move forward because we're getting way too pissed.
I feel upset about
this. Is definitely the rant section, guys.
This is what this series has been leading to.
Yeah,
we've always hinted there's going to be rants, but this is the rantiest of all the rants.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? You know, obviously I put on my Instagram of like, what do you guys think? And I was not going to give you the option of love it.
Yeah.
Fuck you, lads. I am sorry, but if anyone
it's like one of those posts where like brands post, love it more. Love it.
Yeah, because I was like, I am not fucking taking this. Anyone who genuinely loves this, please stop watching me because this is not going to work out. So I put down 4% clicked, I will not accept a love it. 33% said, sweet merciful Zeus, no. And 63% said, burn it and kill it with fire.
Yes,
which
I agree. Burn it.
Genuinely awful. And then the very last thing that we're talking about is Sydney Grace Cosmetics have collaborated with Tina, aka the Fancy Faith, for this Tropic Color palette, and that is launching on the 1st of September. So it's an 18 shade palette. There's 10 mattes and there's 8 shimmers, and that's going to be $60 US. It's quite a blue tone heavy palette, and I will say I've got a few things from Sydney Grace Cosmetics, and like the quality is really good. I haven't seen anything from them of late that I've been like wildly
I can't even remember when we last talked about.
Yeah, I can't. Do you know what? I think it was Temptalia collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last thing that we were talking about with them. So they have this palette, and like I like individual shades, like that berry toned shade down at the bottom, tropical punch.
Oh wow, and like waterfalls. I like shimmers. Like I don't know how to pronounce that one on top of tropical punch. That's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
I like that it has a black and a kind of like a not a white, but like more like a soft beigey white, like a cream. But then sun rays and palm trees together, and then that maroon. It's just those colors do not. I'm so. It's just a personal preference. I do not like that. Yeah. But like, look at that. Like, why is there 2 pastel blues? Okay, they look a bit different. But I feel like they should have done like a brighter blue because there's like a dark navy blue. I agree. So I feel like you wouldn't need like a sky blue there. Like, I agree. Or at least if they went with like that blue. Yeah, like if they'd went with like even just making it more purpley toned, that would have been nice. Waterfalls and rainforest. Look at those swatches side by side there. I thought that was one shade. Yeah, it's a little bit too close. Yeah. Also, like, why is there 2 brown shimmers? Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, it's not for me. I mean, like at first look, I was like, oh. Then I start to look at it more, and now that I look at it even more, I actually like realize I don't like it. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it doesn't make sense as a palette. Like the color story is a bit like, I don't know, disjointed. Like I don't look at this and immediately think of what to do. And I think one of the problems as well is there's a lot of mid-tone shades. Yeah. Here, with the exception of those 2 very light shades, and then a random orange in there. Which I guess you could blend it out with the maroon and yellow. Yeah, but for I don't know. I don't know. Like the swatches don't make the palette, like the shimmers, justice. Yeah, like I don't. What this should like even waterfalls looks not that like it looks on a pan. It looks like it's gonna be the most pretty like bluey purple, like shifty, glittery gorgeousness, and then on the swatch it's like. Yeah, it's kind of meh.
Yeah. See, I want to love this because I know this is like this is somebody who obviously is very passionate about makeup, like the fancy face, and you really want to see when somebody is getting a collab that it does well and it's received well. Like I think there's individual shades in here that are
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I think what would have worked really well is if it had maybe been an all shimmer palette, or
Yeah. Or like shimmers and pastels.
yeah, because I
Think
just feel
about
like
like
the
a
matte,
pastel yellow, pastel green there, like
yeah, the mattes
pastel
are what's confusing
orange,
me. The
and
matte,
then have the black and white there.
yeah, because if I'm 100% honest, it's the mattes that's throwing me.
Yeah, those are the like, I feel like the top row between the white
Mm,
and the like black, it's like, I'm like, what is that?
yeah,
And
I'm
then also
super
like
confused.
the orange and the two browns. I'm also like, I feel like if you would took the two brownie shimmers, the orange, and then the top four mattes out, it would make so much more sense.
I
And
think
they
so
could
too.
have done like a 12 pan palette then.
Yeah,
Or no, maybe I have one shade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, a
yeah,
12 pan palette
yeah.
then.
And I think it would
So
have been a bit more cohesive as well. I just think as well, like $60. I know it's an indie brand and they do have like higher prices, etc.
yeah,
I personally wouldn't pay $60
yeah.
for
I've
that.
heard amazing things about Sydney Grace
Yeah,
eyeshadow. Like it's not that I don't like the brand. And I feel like sometimes people when we like um talk about these products, I feel like sometimes people like if they really love a brand, if you say one negative thing about something, they get upset. It's not about the brand, it's just about the product, you
yeah,
know. And not everyone's gonna love everything. If you
yeah,
like this, buy it, use it. Don't go off of our opinions.
absolutely. Like, I mean, I know that if I released an eyeshadow palette, that there'd be a whole chunk of people who'd hate it, right?
Yeah.
That's just how these
But
things.
like you won't go like, oh my God, why do you hate that? Like you
Yeah,
need to love it.
like it's not that deep. Like
Yeah.
that being said, I really hope this goes well for Sydney
Yeah.
and for Tina, because I mean we have a makeup community and like you do want to see people flourishing and doing really
Yeah.
well. It's not for me and that's okay. I can see definitely elements of this that are really, really nice. And I suspect this is one of those palettes that if you had it in your hands, you'd kind of be
It
like,
will be
oh,
much prettier.
yeah, I think it's one of those ones that maybe it's more difficult to fully capture what it's like because I've had that with Sydney Grace before because I have quite a few of their pieces, like a lot of singles and bundles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have a whole like massive Z palette, like a huge one of like I'd say 50 shades from them. And I think they are one of those brands that it's like once you physically have them in your hand, you're like, okay, this is
Yeah.
really quite
But
nice.
that just tells me I feel like they need to put more effort in how they're presenting their products. For example, like I have nothing against these pictures of these palettes. Maybe I don't really like the background. Like they could have made it a bit more professional. Also with the swatches, I feel like if they would have swatched the shimmers, show a bit more the if they have a shift, how shimmery they are. Because in here they look very lackluster.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not selling the palette because on the palette the shimmers look so pretty. Like some of those shimmers look like so nice. I feel like just maybe work a bit more on that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's primarily about just presenting it in the most kind of clear way so that you know exactly
Yeah.
what you're getting. Because I suspect that this probably looks a lot nicer
Yeah.
IRL. But yeah, it's not for me. But again, I will also just have that caveat of there's not been a lot lately that's made me get very excited because I am also in that Teresa, we need to save sort of a mindset. And weirdly, I am actually doing that. I'm as shocked as you are.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
I hope this release does do well. Just
Yeah.
because, again, I have such a soft spot for indie makeup, and like again, them collaborating with
I feel
small.
like that's where it's at.
Yeah,
But I feel like people start to a little bit more understand the value of indie brands. It's just like last year's favorite palette of mine was the Kaleidos Club Nebula indie brand. This year, up until like here, but obviously not done, is the
Serenity.
Cosmic Brushes Serenity. And also another indie brand. They just do it so well.
Yeah.
It's just like I used my Club Nebula yesterday. And I was like, because I've tried not to use it like all the time. You can't get it anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't remember that this great.
Yeah.
Like I remembered it being great, but like it was excellent.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a big lover of indie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope this does well. Now, when I put it to you guys, 17% of you loved it, 64% said not for me, and 19% of you said I like some of it. So again, I think a lot of us are just kind of burnt with releases.
I do like that you have the option now. I like some of it because we have so many times we have that like I like some of it, but not everything.
Yeah. See, I do take on board feedback. That was Flick's idea, actually, to include that. So thank you. So that leads us to my favorite comment of the week. And this is from Anna BG, who said, Charlotte's darlings are now going to feature in a horror nightmare for me, because myself and Sam were talking last week about Charlotte Tilbury. And then I just started saying about how Charlotte's darlings were going off and milling the powders. Like,
was it the new concealer?
No, it was the like one of the new airbrush powder things.
Oh yeah.
So apparently the Charlotte darlings are terrifying now. I can only imagine that they're probably like gentlemen from Hush. That's what the Charlotte darlings are like. But anyways, guys, that is it. That's the end of this video. You know the general drill. I'll have Tia's details down below, so go find her. She has a Patreon, she has TikToks, all these sort of things. They're all down below. Go follow her, follow me, subscribe, all that general jazz. Do please like, comment, and subscribe to the both of us. And do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course when it comes to STDs. You just gotta wrap it up. But that is it. That is the end of the video, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.